Welcome to Easy Email Marketing. I'm your host, Yael Keown, mum, FIFO wife, MBA, coffee lover, survivor superfan, and creator of the email experience. In Easy Email Marketing, you'll benefit from my nearly 20 years experience, where I'll be teaching you all the tips, tricks, and insider info on how to create feel-good, non-spammy experiences for your subscribers. Let's get stuck in. Welcome back to Easy Email Marketing. I'm your host, Yael Keown, and today I'm going to revisit the good old topic of lead magnets. So inside the VIP edition of the email experience, our monthly mission has been totally focused around our lead magnets and just revisiting the ones that we already have in place. Because what I noticed is my VIPs, they had pretty good bones for their lead magnets. They have great content, great information. They do help their ideal client. They are the precursor step for working with them. But they just weren't converting as well as we'd like, or they weren't seeing the list growth they would see. And I could very specifically see a couple of key ways and a couple of key things that we could do that will take these lead magnets from boring or generic and just not converting to actually doing what they're made to do, and that is to attract leads. Now, if you aren't familiar with the term, I'm not going to rehash everything because I've covered this a lot, but in a nutshell, a lead magnet is some sort of offer, some sort of freebie that you give your future subscriber in exchange for their email address. So the idea is you are gathering a lead, and to get that lead, you are giving them something in exchange, some sort of free gift. Typically, you would see this as a PDF, but you can see all sorts of examples like quizzes, like masterclasses, like videos, like courses. There are a range out there. And once you've seen them, you've seen them all. So if you're not familiar, you can check out way back episode 10, which is all about how to grow your email list fast. I recommend you check that out to get greater context about how this whole lead magnet thing works. But that was a little while ago, and I won't deny the truth. List building is hard. You know, it's no longer 2015 when everyone would sign up for a PDF that contained 3 short top tips. And it really, really pains me to see still these entrepreneurs who started their businesses in 2015 and 2012, you know, the people that were on the cutting edge, telling people how easy it is to get people to sign up, when really wasn't the case anymore. You know, it was easier back then. It was a less noisy place. There was less competition. And it's not even 2020 when people would almost gladly register for any form of free live training. Yeah, it would be really, really nice to be back there at the beginning of those online marketing days, where all those big list building experts made bank. But instead, we can't get away with just creating a single page PDF, a lead page, and do a post on Instagram, and all of a sudden there's 100 more subscribers. It just does not work like that anymore. It's not all bad news though, because I do know that you want quality people on your list. You don't just want any random 100 subscribers. You want great subscribers. You want subscribers that are going to convert to sales. Yes, we can play a numbers game a little bit here, but you want to play smarter and not harder. And sometimes that means maybe you're not getting as many leads, but the leads are the quality ones. And that's where I'm going to help you leverage your lead magnets today. So of course, the temptation when things aren't growing is to just start from scratch, to go, it's just my lead magnet's not working, so I need something totally new. And then all of a sudden it becomes this big project that keeps getting put off, and your list just doesn't grow. And you don't promote your current one either because you're concerned that nobody wants it. And that it's on your to-do list to do the next one, and then you don't get there. So hopefully this episode will help you get something going a lot quicker and get that list growth going for you, now rather than in a year's time. But quick caveat, before you do go through these refresh things, I do want you to do a quick check in on two things. One, make sure you have actually actively been sharing your lead magnet with your audience. It is not enough to have created it 2 years ago, to put it in the footer on your website or someplace on your website, do 2 posts about it, maybe put it in your highlights and leave it. You need to actively be sharing it on a regular basis. So whether that's regular posts, whether that's making it prominent on your website, whether that's weaving it throughout your content, you need to be sharing it actively. Because if people aren't seeing it, then of course they're not going to sign up for it. And the second thing, super logical, but it is still worth bringing up, is just double check that your sign up forms and everything are working. Sometimes it could just be a techie thing that's gone wrong and people aren't signing up for that reason. So just do that quick double check too, because sometimes it's a really simple thing. But if you have been sharing it regularly and everything's working and it still isn't converting, then yes, it could be a time to take a look at it. And as I said, it doesn't mean you need to start from scratch. So we're going to look at 3 key levers that you can pull. So 3 key changes that you could make. You could change one of these things or all 3. So the first lever is the format. So maybe you started with a PDF, such as a top tips for something. And you are now thinking, you know what, that just doesn't seem appealing enough to my audience. That doesn't feel like it gives them the quick win that they need. And that quick win is crucial for a great converting lead magnet, because people just want something that is helpful, that gets them some sort of result now. They don't want to be overwhelmed with just more information. We want to have action. So back in episode 74, I do go through specific lead magnets that are working now. So definitely worth checking out that episode to have an idea about the different types of content you can create. Now, you might be thinking, wait, doesn't this mean if we're looking at, revising this, that we need to have a whole new lead magnet? Yes and no. This is all about just taking the content that you've already got and maybe presenting it with a different approach or from a different angle. So this could be as simple as converting a text-based PDF into a more workbook style, or like an interactive sort of quiz style. It could be just meaning adding more examples. It could be templates or swipe files. Then it could be switching to a Google spreadsheet format, so you can use calculators or planning tools so people can type information in there, but it's still using the same content. You could add handy extras like measurements or conversion charts, ideas lists or checklists. Or you could break a PDF down into smaller chunks and make it into an email course instead. So if it was 5 steps, maybe it's each day is a step. Maybe it's as simple as recording an explainer video to accompany the lead magnet. And ultimately, all of this is, you could end up rebranding it. So it's rebranding it as a kit or a pack or a calculator or swipe files. So something that takes what you've got now and makes it even more actionable, makes it give that quick win. And I am sure back when you first created whatever lead magnet is, you might have got to a point you think, I want to add this, or this will be really helpful to put in, but you didn't do it because you just needed to get something out there, which is totally valid. But now, you can revisit this. You can add some of these extra layers that just make it helpful. Now, you might be concerned that this might mean you're providing too much value, but I wouldn't be concerned there. Obviously, we're not going to give away, your paid products for free, but this is about showing people what, value you can provide. It helps them take action. It helps them feel good about you as someone who can help them with whatever it is they are struggling with. So that is the first lever you can pull, is the format. Think about how you can enhance it and maybe rebrand it a little bit based around just a couple of changes. The second one is the design. So maybe instead of, making it feel more valuable in terms of giving extras, it could just be making it prettier. And I know that sounds really, really shallow, but it is true. This is one of the things that you are leading with. You need to go with professionalism. You may want to have, you just want to make it feel valuable. And, sometimes people think, we just want to have like a quick one-pager lead magnet. But I don't know about you, but if I just get a quick one-page thing with just a few dot points, I don't feel like that was worth my email address, even if it's really, really valuable information. Yes, I do if it gives me actual steps or something, but we can make it feel more valuable by adding extra pages. So in a nutshell, you could think about things like adding a cover page, an intro page, about you, next steps. We want to just have really beautiful design. And then the content itself, just make it spacious. Use images, add examples, add those swipe files, add little call out tips. I'm sure you think of all these different ways that, I guess if you were to write your lead magnet as a blog article, you might end up almost like an essay. And that's what people find overwhelming. But if instead it was more broken down into a couple of dot points, but then you had little call outs and little tips or little putting in testimonials or examples of real life scenarios where this has worked, that is something that can just make it feel a whole pile more valuable and again, help people take action. Then if you did want the summary page that's easy for someone to print, that's a checklist or a recap, put that in there too. And then, of course, if you have played with the format a little bit, that's where you can add the extra layers and put them in as well. And finally, along with this design comes the design of your lead pages too. That needs to look professional. It needs to look clean. And you need good mock-ups of the what they get as well, so they can visualize what they are going to get. So we need to have really good mock-ups there too. And of course, tools like Canva make this super, super easy. There are a ton of templates out there and formats you can use. So play with one of those, or you can, of course, get someone to design it for you. And finally, the third lever, and probably the most important, is the messaging. So if your lead magnet is titled 10 Top Website Tips, that is just too generic. We need to make sure we are targeting the right people for your lead magnet, which means the right people for your offer. And when it comes to marketing, we want to make sure we are attracting the right people, but also we are repelling those who are not the right people. That's what a magnet is. It repels and attracts. So not only does it need to have that quick win, but it needs to literally be a magnet. So you need to stand out by saying who it is for specifically and how it helps them. So who it is for could be based around a category of customer. It could be around a particular challenge or frustration that they have. And that is what will help you stand out in a world where everything is just the same. So generic speaks to no one, but if you say this is for you, all of a sudden I'm like, yes, please give that to me. So of course you may worry that some people won't sign up because you're trying to be all things to all people, but you'd be surprised that it's the opposite that works. And what's brilliant about this is, circling back to at the beginning where I spoke about working smarter, not harder. Yes, we might not get quite as many people, but these are the right people. And then think about how much easier it's going to be writing your emails afterwards because you were tailoring it to a specific message, to a specific person. And all of a sudden you can go really deep and really connect with them. So think about who your ideal client is and what their challenges are right now, what outcomes they want, any of that ideal client avatar work you have done, and come up with some great messaging. And the good news is sometimes all you need to do is change the title. You don't need to rewrite the whole thing. Of course, if you come up with an angle, you might end up using that in your introduction and in your delivery emails, etc. But at a minimum, all you need is a great title. Of course, it'd be great, working with a title and subtitle combination works really well. Maybe you want some 3 dot points as to why the lead magnet that you have helps them. And of course, that good call to action button. And the good news is, better news is that AI tools makes it so easy. All you need to do is ask Claude or ChatGPT to say, generate me 20 to 50 titles for this lead magnet. It is aimed towards this person. And see what it comes up with. Let that do the first round of creative juices for you, and then you can go. So hopefully you have found this useful, and hopefully you have at least 1 or 2 ways that you can start to just tweak your lead magnet that you already have in place. So quick recap is to just check the format. Maybe you need to enhance it a little bit to ensure it gives that quick win. Maybe it's the design. You just need to make it feel more valuable, feel higher quality, feel like something that makes a difference. And then finally, the messaging. And that's probably the most important thing, but it weaves through everything. But it could be as simple as that. I've heard tales of people just changing the headline on a lead page, and it can make all the difference to the signups. So do not give up on changing that. And if you change it and it still doesn't kind of convert well for you, then you change it again. Keep tweaking until you find the messaging that lands. And the great news is that you can play with that really, really easily if you are just working with a couple of small things at a time, instead of thinking you need to do a whole new thing every single time. And of course, make sure you share it. Don't just put it in one place and expect everyone to sign up. So hopefully you have enjoyed that. If you do want some more tips about creating a lead magnet, get things like templates, to dive deeper into my 3 criteria, to get, over 70 ideas of lead magnets, to learn how to create that lead page and how to integrate it with your email marketing software, then you definitely want to check out one of my courses called Lead Magnet Magic. You can check that out at yaelkeone.com/magic. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'd love to hear from you about what you've enjoyed from this episode or what you want to know more about. Let me know over on Instagram. I'm at yaelkeone, and I'll see you in the next episode. Thank you for listening to Easy Email Marketing. It's an absolute honor that you chose to listen. If you love this episode, then it would mean the world to me if you could leave a review so that others can find this podcast and make their email marketing easy too. Finally, make sure to subscribe so that you don't miss a thing. Until next time, have an awesome day and make sure to keep showing up and serving in those inboxes.